Hello YouTube and welcome to Katrinka LOL. And today is part 5 of the waiting room series, and which also sparked another idea. It's been some weeks since I was in the waiting room, and I thought about caretakers, the unsung heroes. So we're going to address both of those things today. Now, part 5 of the waiting room was the longest one yet. It was expected to be about 8 hours, and going through that has brought some realizations that I'd like to share, both for the people experiencing caretaking and for the people who are friends and so on with them. Now, a little disclaimer is that not everything I touch on here necessarily is directly related to my experience. It's some ideas that have occurred to me and hopefully that you find helpful. All right, so let's get started. Now, the first thing is, since this was going to be such a long waiting room experience, I used a bigger bag this time, and it had wheels on it and everything, and just kind of like a suitcase. It's not a suitcase. It's actually a yarn organizer, that I used for my yarn, but it just seemed to be ideal for this particular situation because the patient had to have a little suitcase just in case they wound up being transferred to the hospital. It was a day surgery, but in the event that they were transferred, then they would need their little suitcase. So I needed something that could sit on top here so that I could carry it all, and wheel it and manage it. So this time, I had to think, what did I need? I brought my usual reading materials and so on, and magazines, books, and puzzles or whatever I thought I might need. But also I had to bring lunch and beverages so that I could stay hydrated and all that kind of thing. So I needed something this large. It's a pretty cool thing, and you can put all kinds of stuff in it, and I had tissues and napkins and whatever. So you really have to put a lot of thought into a day that's long like that. So one of the conclusions I came to was that caretakers are somewhat forgotten. Everyone seems to care about the patient, and they should, but not so much the caretakers, or at least that's how it might seem. There was little accommodation for the caretakers, just some waiting room chairs and a vending machine. And put on top of that, having to get up at 3 a.m. for an early morning surgery, and the caretaker can be depleted from the start, before it even gets going. So here in my experience as a nurse, how it used to be back in the day, a patient was sent home after spending some time recovering in the hospital, which may be days to weeks, and they were pretty much on their feet by the time they went home. But now they're sent home the same day, and the caretaker has to care for a fresh post-op patient. So in the beginning, one of my biggest fears was of the patient falling. This actually happened to Kathy Lee Gifford, and this is fairly recently, she had a hip replacement. She pushed herself too hard, she fell, and wound up back in the hospital with pelvic fractures. So I'll link the video below to that news story. So I personally started out the caretaking experience exhausted because of getting little sleep the night before and having to get up at 3 a.m. So the day was very long, and then when we got home I couldn't rest. I had to attend to the dogs. They had been in their kennels for quite a while. I had to get the patients settled in, make sure they were safe, and so on, and I had to do this all at the same time. Because of this fear of the patient falling, I had one eye open all the time, and it was rough. So the problem for the caretakers could include that the caretaker may not have training. It may be scary for them to have a fresh post-op patient who's had, kind of a serious surgery, and they have to take care of them. So they also have to do what they usually do while taking care of a fresh post-op patient, and it's very draining and tiring. It's a 24/7 job in the beginning, and it was draining for me, and I'm a nurse. So I can't imagine what it's like to not be trained and have this huge responsibility put on your shoulders. And I really give a shout out to people that have to do this these days, So put on top of that the possibility of a cranky, demanding, stubborn, and uncooperative patient, and this could be even more difficult. So, some suggestions to consider. And I'm reading from my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. So everyone calls to check on the patient, but how about asking how the caretaker is doing? If you can, think of ways you can help. Maybe bringing over sandwiches, takeout or something, offering to do some of the chores, simple things, sitting with the patient so the caretaker can take a nap, do some self-care, and get a break. And offer these things. Asking, is there anything I can do, is really not helpful because some people are reluctant to put other people out for them, and I'm one of those people, by the way. It's something that I guess I need to work on. I don't like to put other people out, so I'll push myself and just keep going and do it myself, and then I kind of crash and burn, So this is especially relevant if the caretaker is elderly and doesn't have family nearby to help. So, for the caregiver, I'll link an article below from the Mayo Clinic on caregiver stress and suggestions on how to take care of yourself. And one of the takeaways from that article, and I'll let you read the article yourself, but one of the takeaways is that you should ask for help and receive it, And I for one, find it difficult to do that, so my suggestion would be to practice with asking very small things, like a very, very, very tiny favor, and then accepting it gracefully. And then you can work your way up to asking. I'm pretty sure that if you're reluctant to impose on people, you're not going to be too demanding. So let me end with this. I got one of these things, and this is for around your neck and for when you're traveling, so that you can take a little nap. And so I found that helpful in the waiting room. I was trying to rest. I couldn't sleep, but I was, just trying to at least rest and gain some of my strength back. So that's it for today. And I hope you found this information helpful. I hope it has sparked some thought. And I'll see you in the next video.